Hello and welcome into all viewers, readers, and listeners around the world. You are watching Gespräch with Rolia, and today with me, I have a guest who has over 20 years of experience in the motorsport industry. And it isn't just limited to a single series or a single type of racing. His experience is so enriching. It is, you could write a whole big fat book out of just his experiences. So today with me, I have someone who wrote his thesis at NASA, has been former Formula One race performance engineer with Ferrari, with Red Bull Racing, has then worked with Magneti Marelli of 2008 onwards, has been the founder and director of Global Evolve Holdings LLP, has worked as the motorsport business director for McLaren Applied, working on some prestigious projects such as the F1 hybrid system and the Formula E Gen 2 battery, and currently is the Chief Technical Officer CTO of Seaward Technologies and co-founder and CEO of E1 Series, yes, the brand new electric powered powerboat racing series. So please welcome the one and the only Rodi Basso.
Do it again, especially considering the results that we got. So very exciting time. Now we are. Yes, of course, my racing experience and the competence, the study they have done. In the end, all the ingredients of your. There was Michael Schumacher driving around with the car, doing some testing, and I was asking who's driving. Michael. Okay, good. I better get this job. It has been unseen and untold. Oh, I would rather die. Is it lunchtime there? Okay. Achieve here is to have a championship where each city will have also its own team. We have a provisional calendar, and we are talking about. I would like to highlight that I am evaluating many sources of energy. Sport is life.
Salve, Signora. And firstly, how are you today? And how's your day been going? I suppose it would have been a pretty busy time right now for the past few days.
Well, first of all, thank you for the introduction, which is really heartwarming. And yes, for sure, we've been through very busy time because in the last month we have managed to put our prototype, the Racebird prototype 01, on water, and we had very good results. We an incredible baseline for our racing platform, but of course it came at a cost of big efforts and incredible teamwork from all the team members and the partners. Uh, but again, I will definitely do it again, especially considering the results that we got. So very exciting time. Now we are already planning the next step of our journey of our business, and it's yeah, super motivating and exciting.
Sure. Okay, so it has been a very busy time, and I think you might be used to busy times based on your work till date. You have worked on some prestigious projects. So where do you put this current work even series? Do you see this as the most challenging project till date for you, or do you think that all your experience till date has prepared you for this work?
Well, I will tend to agree with you in a way that, yes, of course, my racing experience and the competence, the study they have done, in the end, all the ingredients of your life takes you in a certain spot. We all are driving to wherever we are today, and we have to use this not as a blame exercise, but actually an incredible message of how much powerful we can be on our life. And so, all the decisions that I've made so far, many of those have been very brave. I mean, there has been an element of big risk, but they all converged to this project, which is the first time that I work for my project, for my dream. And I have to say, it's a very nice place to be, which I wish to you and to all the people that are listening to this channel, because again, it's motivating, it's your dream. You can surround yourself of the right people that you get along with, and you want to build something big, but much bigger than it can look like in the beginning. And so yeah, that's absolutely amazing.
Right. So you told that the intro from my end was humbling for you, but you know, how would you describe your own self if you were to introduce yourself to our viewers? How would you describe yourself to them in a line or two?
Well, I like to consider myself a visionary person, someone that for sure is more motivated from the future, designing the future, than looking at the past. Every time I go and spend too much time in the past, of course, there are a lot of lessons that inevitably you take with you, and actually, it's uh, a big luck to have these lessons. But in the meantime, looking at the future and planning future is something that motivates me much more. I'm much more intrigued by what's new than what happened in the past. And then, of course, always spend time and trying to be very much connected to the present, but again, to understand how I can contribute in helping others and improving the status of human beings for the future. So again, there is a natural tension towards innovation, vision, creativeness, and this is the place where I like to be. In the meantime, I also recognize that you cannot only dream of something or design something, but you have to execute it. And so I also have that element that is coming more from my engineering background. And on top of this, I surround myself with incredible people, because there's no secret in the success of projects and journeys, but hiring the right people and the top level in the market. And so this is how I also plan all the rest. Of course, in the private life, I am also I'm a one person. I don't split myself in different characteristics, and so incredibly grateful to have an amazing family and a network of friends that are very very close to me. And also in my private life, I have to say I'm pretty lucky in the way I manage. Of course, having said that, overall the balance between all the aspects of my life is incredibly important, and so this is maybe my second characteristics, which it's a never-ending exercise of keep checking and finding the balance across all the interests that I have.
Hey, that was pretty, not just interesting. That was a great insight into what it takes to be able to do something like this. So before we move on to the your whole career, which I'm so excited to talk about in just a bit of time, I would first like to spend some time on your current project, Even Series. So why Even Series? Like there's so much already going on. So why was there a need of Even Series? Why did you start this project?
So first of all, I always believe that there is always a need for sports, and for building through the sports a platform that is trying to offer to human beings the opportunity of telling important stories, dealing with that, and executing strong projects, again, to improve the human conditions. The need for E1 in particular, I think, is a call for the need of a different way to experience the sport. What we are trying to build is a meeting point between power boating, motorsport, and sailing. In the meantime, by only defining our platform in this way, I'm already saying that it's something that didn't exist before. So we are trying to build a completely new concept, and this is reflected in the design of our race boat, the Racebird, but also it's reflected in our proposition as a championship, which in the end, defining it only a racing platform, you will see that it will be extremely limiting, because we are trying to be also a lot beyond the racing environment. And in particular, I would like to mention three dimensions. One is the city brand. We are keen not to be a pop-up event, but actually to collaborate with local authorities and contribute to boost the city brands at, at the maximum throughout all the season. So not to offer only a weekend of visibility, but almost a year of visibility to cities. The other dimension is, of course, technology. We want to accelerate, and that's what we have done already through the Proto One. We want to accelerate the electrification in the marine industry. We reckon that by cross fertilization, by moving 20, 30 years of experience in motorsport and high-end automotive, we have done this job and we will keep doing this job. So actually my vision is with the next generation of race boat is to get to a level of technology such that other forms of mobility will learn from us. And today the electric propulsion allows to have this cross fertilization in an easier way. So technology is a very important one. And then, of course, and then, of course, the sustainability. Of course, all the previous two are connected to this, but together with the race platform, we also want to build large scale and long lasting projects together with our partners and sponsors in order to deploy locally, wherever we go racing, large scale projects of regeneration of the coastal areas or water healing. And we want to do this by hiring local forces and educate them, train them, and allowing them to have a job which is going to last for years in order to improve the condition of their region. So, in this way, I mean, all these dimensions make it very complex. And sometimes when you have to try to address these topics in the normal world, so outside the sport, it's very difficult because there are interests, because there are mental paradigms, there are many reasons. Whereas we present ourselves as a sport with purpose, and this allow us to tap in these important dimensions without getting too much resistance. And by the way, with the racing spirits, we can accelerate the resolution of these pillars and the execution of these pillars more in a more agile way and more efficiently.
So, would I be right in saying that E1 is not just a racing series, it is a campaign to connect and build a community to change the world for the better?
Absolutely. Well, the community is already out there because, when people ask me about our media reach and all these things, I go back to them and say, listen, please check who's interested in ESG, check who's interested in water mobility, enjoying the water, enjoying sports. That's my reach. Okay. And these are billions of people, billions of people. So again, the community is already there. We are offering a genuine and authentic way to enjoy a new sport by also dealing with these important matters, which again are of interest of an incredibly large community.
Right, and as you said, the community is already out there, and it's not just those power boating fans or the water mobility fans. There have been several new motorsport or racing fans who have just stuck to Formula One or Formula E for these days, but have jumped onto that even series train. Big kudos to the whole management from the even series, because from the day that even series launched, there is this sense, there's this atmosphere that you can almost sense amongst the fans that are already following with great anticipation. So building on that, when the biggest talking point among fans is when can they see it, up close, right there in front of their eyes? When can they see the best drivers, best riders in the world, pilots in the world race in front of their eyes?
So thank you for this question because it's a very important point for us. First of all, talking about drivers and pilots, as we call them, uh, we will work very hard in order to find the right pilot, train them, and making sure that we have athletes that are keen to experiment themselves with a new sport and a new challenge, and especially whose value absolutely align with our bigger purpose of the organization. Um, the target is to start the championship in spring 2023 with a minimum of 8 cities, of which 7 are very, very in advanced conversation, and we have a provisional calendar. And we are talking about Saudi, we are talking about Monaco, Venice, Miami, Rotterdam, we are talking about Dallas, Rome. So very iconic city. Actually, our target is very much about one or all of these characteristics for a city. Iconic for beauty or for historical role, interested in innovation, interested in sustainability. So these are our 3 elements. Cities like Venice, of course, they're not only interested in sustainability, but they need to be interested because of the problems they have on this topic. And so that's why the conversation with them are converging at an incredible pace. And then, of course, there are many others. In this moment, we have been dealing with, let me call it, this part of the world, but we have also conversations in Asia. And of course, we are super keen to have a base in Asia, absolutely, as we will build for sure in Venice and Miami. Likewise, we will have a base with 12 boats in Asia, and of course, conversations are ongoing in a bit of an early stage. So I would like not to release any information on this. Apologies for this, but I am sure that Asia will be an important hub because, again, the importance of the water in many countries in Asia, and also how close people are to the electrification revolution, which is our next industrial revolution.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Getting cities, getting these locations that not only fulfill these three items that you said, but they also draw the focus of a lot of people. When I remember when Formula E, for example, by the co-founder Alejandro Agag, when Formula E visits Monaco, there's this many more people join in to see, oh, what is Formula E going to do in Monaco, rather than when Formula E is just racing in Berlin. So I think that does help connect with the people as well, because when you visit Rome, when you visit Venice, people just tune in to see what is going on in such a place. Because for some people, they would have never imagined a racing series going to Venice and doing racing around there with just not just simply uh, athletics or something, but a full-fledged powerboat racing series. So that is interesting. Now you have said a lot of interesting things, but I have received some police complaints against you. There's an interrogation against you. I will lodge against you. This is a very, very serious matter. Hope you understand. I'll try to protect you from the police as much as I can. It's a very serious matter. I have 2 very big charges against you. So the first charge against you is that, you know, there is this criticism that is there against motorsport series and people as such, that you are causing an unnecessary waste of resources, is what people believe. What do you have to say to that?
Well, first of all, it's a fair point, and I fully understand the question, which honestly is a question that we also ask ourselves. But then, if I take this question to the extreme, shall we kill all the events in the world, sport, entertainment, any form of gathering for people to show up on a shore or on a stadium or anything to enjoy a sport event, for example, spend some time with the family, be in the open air and meet friends and enjoy a spectacle. I believe that this will be a solution, maybe effective, but this will cause frustration and depression in the population everywhere in the world. So my question then reverted on how can we keep enjoying a sport event, keep enjoying gathering up with friends and other people that I don't know and I may meet because of the same interest, the community that you have mentioned, by reducing as much as possible the impact of this event. And I'll make you a very scientific example for this. In our plan is to bring water sensors in the ports where we go racing. We're going to measure the impact of our event on the water before we show up and after we show up, after the event, sorry. Um, and this will be an important, one of the most important KPI for us to keep improving year by year. So reducing the impact, tending to zero, if not positive, which is not impossible, by the way. And I've got some solution in the pipeline. Um, and again, letting people keep enjoying a sport entertainment event. I think this is more important than neglecting anything and just not do anything
Okay.
about it.
Okay. So well defended there. The second charge against you is that you are working too much. 20 plus years in the motorsport industry, you know, the charge against you is that you're working too much. You now need to maybe retire, just take a rest, sit back and enjoy some racing rather than being there. What do you have to say about this? Has ever your family come up to you and said, Dad, this is enough, you know, take a break, sit back?
Well, in opposite compared to the first question, I must delude you and all the people in the channels, because I have to say I'm not working since 20 years because I have the incredible luxury of doing what I'm very passionate about, which is the combination of sport and technology. I go around in amazing places, well treated, and meet incredible people that I've been learning from on a day by day basis. Incredible as inspiration. Of course, I learned with the years that it's important to balance this part with life, let's say, with what is outside life, even though, again, I can't really make this difference between work and life because I try to bring my life at work and not bring my work in my personal life. But it's something that you always have to be very disciplined, pay a lot of attention, check your body, check where you are, and find the time, like an athlete, to recover and then start again. This question could have asked also to a marathon athlete. They kill themselves. I don't know if you know their training program. It's quite tough. It's quite harsh if you want to go in a prop and be competitive in a marathon. But you don't tell them, hey, you're training too much. Hang on a second, I've got a dream. So, as an athlete, training is important, discipline is important, recovering, pausing your brain is extremely important. But again, I face my work as an athlete will do with his discipline. So, I'm incredibly happy and I can suggest my life to many people.
Right, well explained, and the arguments you put forward, the jury finds you not guilty, completely not guilty of any of the charges put against you. But now, moving on to your career now, you talked about you not working actually because you have been, in your passion, you have been doing things you love. So let us go back 20 years, let us go back down the memory pit lane. 20 years ago, you were a young race engineer with Scuderia Ferrari in Formula One. Could you reminisce something of that for us? How was that experience? What were you there?
So it was a very strong experience for many aspects. First of all, I remember the interview when I started, and I got my second interview in Fiorano, which is their owned
Yeah.
test track. And there was Michael Schumacher driving around with a car doing some testing, and I was asking who's driving. And Michael, okay, good. I better get this job. So I went through the interview very with the top of my form and concentration and focused, and I will never forget the moment. When they passed me to the third level of interview, which wasn't the final, but still was a step forward. So I was incredibly happy at that stage. And again, not I wasn't happy because I had reached anything, but because I had the chance to go to a next level of professionalism and life experience by joining a race team in Formula One, going around the world twice per year, and meeting again incredible professional people, and earning good money as well. So I have to say I was very very happy. The other image that I have in my mind is Japan qualifying in 2004. I was in the race team, performance engineer for Rubens Barrichello. The electronics in those days were the most important element to make the difference in a car, and I was in charge of it, of tuning it. And Rubens in Japan qualifying did the pole position, and that was in general Michael Schumacher racetrack, especially for qualifying. But he managed with an incredible human and engineering effort to make the difference. He was braking with the left foot or right foot, depending on the corner. So this is something that has been unseen and untold about the Formula One endeavors, but that was an incredible, incredible achievement. So these are, let's say, two of the images that are always with me. But of course, I've got hundreds of other experiences and anecdotes that I could share. It was just an incredible growth for me.
Right. It's just exciting to even listen to how Ruben got that pole and your involvement with that. So you were there in the Ferrari team at a time when Michael Schumacher was, let's say, at his peak. He's going on to win his seventh world title by the time you leave, before you leave. So, but you were on the side of Rubens Barrichello in the garage. If we see, you were working on his car. You were his racing engineer. Was there ever any sort of, you know this is pre-talked about in Formula One. There is one team, but there's two sides of a garage, and on one side you have already a legend by then, Michael Schumacher, and on this side you're working with Rubens Barrichello. Was there ever any sort of pressure on you, or let's say artificial pressure on you, that you just sense because there was like you were working for Ferrari, most successful team in Formula One, the biggest name, or was there any, in-team rivalry between Rubens and Michael that was present, that was there? If you could.
Yes, there was and there is with across all the teams. I mean, the first competitor you need to win is your teammate, and so this is like a natural law of the F1 jungle, if I may say. So first of all, the teammate is offers a benchmark on your performance and lap time. So it's important to be close to him or her, even though there is no her. But today you need to say this. Uh, and it's important to understand the speed and how he's driving around the corners and all these sort of things. Of course, part of the confirmation of the contract for the following years is coming from being at least in the ballpark of performance as your teammate. And so naturally, there was rivalry, absolutely. Also between engineers, there was a bit, I have to say, even though we were getting the same reward in case of constructor championship. But again, that was done always with a sporty and ethical behavior, and I would say um nothing else. Let's say.
So yeah, in your time at Ferrari, you were with Barrichello, and at that time Schumacher was, not to mince the words, kind of ruling Formula One. If there was one name, it was Michael Schumacher at that time, championship after championship. Being on the other side of the garage from Schumacher, you are, like you said, Rubens reached pole in Suzuka, but it was generally a Schumacher track. Was there any sort of feeling in you like, whatever we do, it is not getting us the win? Did you ever ask yourself this question, like, what is the point?
No, well, that's a bit of an extreme question. I have to say, I understand your point in general. So, of course, we all like to win,
Okay.
especially if you are in a race competition and if you are in Formula One, like in every motorsport or motor racing category. I have to say, without being cheeky, I'd rather be in the position of following and improve myself. And even if you win once, it makes a lot of noise compared to
Yeah.
be the one to chase and then always look your back to make sure that you keep that position. So, or if you prefer, we all have our challenges. Either you're following or you are
Yeah.
chasing. Is never an easy life in high competitive environments. Let's put it this way. And I include also other
Yeah.
industries and other categories of people. So difficult to get bored when you are such a winning team and when you are looking at the others. To finish this, I would say that the idea and the philosophy of continuous improvement at that point went into my DNA, into my genes. I was keep trying, like all the teams, to improve all the single, even the stupidest details in order to get better and better. And I have to say, Ferrari, Mr. Todd, Mr. Brown did their best to create the stage for the engineers and the mechanics and all the people involved to embrace this philosophy and keep winning. So there was another massive lesson from those days.
Interesting. So now, after the 2000 and I think after the end of the 2005 season, you switched from Ferrari to still very new, a very different team, Red Bull Racing at that point of time. Currently, at that point of time, RBR Ferrari. How was that experience? Because RBR was definitely a pretty different team. It was still in its nascent stages. It was just bought from Jaguar. So how was that switch? How was that experience for you?
Well, first of all, was an experience dictated by the curiosity of seeing how another team in another country was running a Formula One team. In the meantime, as soon as I signed, by pure luck, Red Bull signed also Adrian
Yeah.
Newey, who I was reporting to, and there was another opportunity to learn from the best. Let me add also that Red Bull, in order to win as quickly as possible, started hiring people from all the teams in Formula One. So I was learning all the possible approaches from all the teams in Formula One in one team. So again, by one side, a bit of a shocking wake up when I got there and the actual car was not competitive at all and actually wasn't even reliable. But in the meantime, in those 3, 4 seasons that I've been there, I had the chance to contribute with what I've learned in the Ferrari days, together with the other team members, of course, and being part of something that is being built from scratch is also a very interesting experience because you feel like you can contribute more. Whereas when I was in Ferrari, of course, I couldn't contribute at all because I just got a degree before joining, basically. But everything was working. So also for the younger generation following your channel, I would definitely suggest trying to get to learn from the best in the beginning and then spend the rest of your life either keep hanging with the best or trying to contribute in other organization in order to get them developing and flourishing. So that was my a good recap of my experience there in Red Bull.
Right. So your role at Red Bull, based on what you yourself have said, included something known as liaison from race engineering group to the design group. Could you could you tell us very briefly about what that role actually entails?
So the role as a whole, it was the title was the same as in Ferrari, but the perimeter of responsibilities was broader than in Ferrari. So everything related to basically the performance of the car, the gear selection, the aerodynamics, the simulation, the preparation of the event, and the simulation of all the car setup was included. Whereas in Ferrari, since there were more people, it was split in different departments. So again, there was another great opportunity. In terms of liaise with the design group, I have to say, in Ferrari was I was very young, but when I got to Red Bull, there was the opportunity to translate not only from the driver's comments into technical and data relevance, but also from the data to the design group in order to get the lesson learned and either fix it for the following race wherever possible or for the next season. And again, so I was tapping in the development of the new car or the new specification for the following race, and there was also a great opportunity for me as I had the chance to see the changes, and sometimes they were well addressed, sometimes they needed some iteration, but still the progress of things, the progress of the car throughout the season, which is something that I don't know how much is still there in Formula One given the budget cap and many limitation on the rules.
So, so there's this so basically you are a part of the continuous process from the on track to the team to another team and to the designs. So basically getting basically you are one of the chain link in that development process of the car, right?
Correct.
Hey,
Exactly.
now you left, I think, Red Bull before the start of the 2008 season, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
So now
Correct.
2008 wasn't a very happy season for them even then, but then comes 2009, the big regulation change, and they sign up Vettel. They finish second in the Drivers' Championship, and after that they start winning with Sebastian Vettel. Have you ever had any regret of maybe staying back a few years?
Absolutely not, because I got my medals when I was in Ferrari, and I felt, and I still feel part of the team who has taken Red Bull to those
Definitely.
levels, including getting the first
Yeah.
podium of the history of Red Bull in Monaco 2006 with David Coulthard. So, um, there are decisions and there are always pros and cons, but if in the end making decision is an art, and the more you need to find rational behind your decision making process and stick to it for the future, making sure that you can foresee in the future how you feel in front of these sort of questions. So that was the process, and I have to say, I still stick to the decision. It was a very good thing to say. Not to mention that again, it's not only about job, but after I left Formula One, the racetrack, and Red Bull, I got married and got two kids. So I managed to rebalance my life compared to going around the world and having a bit of a fully dedicated life somehow, and there was a again a pro of the decision.
Right. So you left F1, but you never left motor racing. So just briefly, before I move on to back to even series and something I've gotten for you, you were involved with All in Sports for A1GP. The thing that happened, maybe many not know, but A1GP was open wheel racing in which countries participated. There was a lot of buzz around it. Some of the best racers did. So A1GP, you were involved in I suppose you were involved in the organization. You were also involved in overseeing the car. So how was it to organize an event where you are trying to, something, a very new concept for racing, getting in countries?
Yeah, so first of all, I wasn't into the event organization, but we, together with a previous business partner, we founded a company called Oni Sports, and we were the program management of the
Uh-huh.
championship. So building the cars, the
Yes.
22 cars for the first season, and of course going through the prototype, the testing, and everything. We also built a simulator to let the drivers train on the simulator because there was no testing in the regulations. So what we have done is putting together the chassis coming from an English designer, the engine from Ferrari, and the electronics from Magneti Marelli. Okay, so it was very technical program management kind of role. So nothing to do with the event organization. Of course, we done this in I think 10 months, which was hell of a ride. Uh, but yeah, we took the challenge on board. We made it. We were surrounded by incredible people, and so another amazing
Right.
experience.
So, you have like we just talked about, you have had to make several decisions. You stand by your decisions. But today I want to put you on the spot for certain questions. I want to take you for a round of would you rather. So what would Roddy rather do? So these are, sets of questions. We are going to look at what you would rather do. I'm going to give you two options. You have to select one of them. So let's go for the first one. So would you travel in a car to work, or would you rather travel in a boat to work?
Both.
Is it more fun?
Well, first of all, it's new, it's more immersive to the water, and I think it's one of the last chance for people to keep living in big cities and not having the congestion that we are experiencing today. In London, there is an average of 5 miles per hour in the traffic, so I definitely go for the boat.
Right. Would you rather race in a sea, or would you rather race in city waters?
In city waters, yeah, definitely, because one of our, again, since we are a sport with a purpose, we want to be as close as possible to people. We want to go where the peoples are. We don't want the people uh, to chase us in too much remote place, because we want to bring them all the other dimension and messages that we have within our platform. And so I'd definitely rather go to city waters, also because most of them are absolutely beautiful.
Right now, so quickly, would you have an hour-long race or a two-lap fly out?
Two lap fly out, hundreds of reasons for this. First of all, sprint
Yeah.
races are more exciting. Attention span is going lower. Again, we are a sport, but we are also much more than that. So we have so many stories to tell and excitement to share. So our media product will have again different angles and multiple offer. So again, and also the two lap fly out is also linked to the
Yes.
sense of urgency that we have in racing, but also in addressing important
Right.
matters like saving our most important ecosystem. So definitely going for the
Right. So
sprint.
next up, you are an Italian who's living in England. Would you rather have English food or Italian food?
I mean, that's the tough one, because I mean London is of course welcoming me and the family. I'm growing my kids for many aspects of this country, which I love so much. In fact, it's the second time I come to live in London. There are so many reasons, but the food. So I will definitely go for the Italian food.
Yeah. Right. Would you have an year-long season like Formula One, or would you have a more compact season? What would you prefer?
Um, well,
You know, for any racing series, what would Rodi Basso, the person?
I think I will go more for a compact season. I believe that the entertainment offer in general,
Okay.
not only in sports but in general, is so wide, so broad, that trying to um, increase this offer in the market would be detrimental for the overall business purpose, and the people maybe will get like a bulimia of your sport, if you know what I mean. So I would definitely go more for a compact sprint exciting season than a long
Right.
endurance.
So if you were to race, if Roddy Basso was to race, would you rather take part in open wheel racing or something like sports car racing or rally?
Well, I will go maybe for the open wheel, because the sports car racing is there are more people who can do it, whereas open wheel is a specific art which has got nothing to do with driving, as we all know in common sense, but is a lot about how you manage the ride height versus the power versus the aerodynamics. So it's a completely different size, and it's more unique. If you are an open wheel racing driver, you got
Right, now the
something more
big question.
in the pocket.
Would you rather have pineapple on pizza or would you rather not eat anything at all?
Oh, I would rather die.
It is a pretty serious state right there. You would rather die than have pineapple on pizza.
Well, I need some diet, so I need some diet. So this question is very relevant. I have to say, no, no, no. Pineapple on pizza is like cappuccino at lunch or at dinner.
Right, that's two big takes in one go. Okay,
I love my
fair enough. The final
stereotypes.
question: would you rather be a race engineer or a team principal in any racing series?
Well, I've been race engineer, so I will definitely go for a team principal at this stage. Again, new experience, new challenges. So for me, this is
Right.
straightforward.
Thank you so much for those questions. And it was pretty interesting, though. The best part was probably when you said you would rather die than have pineapple on pizza. Like it is right there. It. You felt it right there. It seemed. Okay. On those lines, I think I can't
Yeah,
let you go at all without asking before I move on to E1 series again. On these lines, the big question, another one. This is again from the fans. I think this is for every person. Sorry to be stereotypical for every person from Italy. How do you pronounce it? Is it bruschetta? Is it bruschetta? What is it?
it's
Bruschetta.
bruschetta. There we go. You have to think to have a K
Uh,
instead of CH, and job done.
Done. So that definitely confuses a lot of people. So okay, so two things we can't see any fan doing at an even series.
Is it lunchtime there? Okay.
We can't have any fan doing at an even series race is trying to eat pineapple on a pizza or calling it bruschetta. Okay, this needs to be
Yeah,
noted down by all the fans.
please, please, in the
Yeah.
first page. Yeah,
Right.
in the cover
So,
page.
just getting back to even series. So, one important question that I wanted to ask you was that, there are powerboat series, or especially in several European cities as well, countries, there is powerboat series, there's powerboat racing, there's speedboat racing. But, even series has connected people from a lot more places, from places like Asia, from places like America. Does is even series looking at forming some sort of feeder series to get people into such kind of racing, powerboat racing or even series racing specifically?
So, as briefly mentioned, we've been pitching our championship to different kind of potential teams and stakeholders, and I have to say, what we are trying to achieve here is to have a championship where each city will have also its own team, and we are building a way to a process to make sure that we have the best athletes in the world coming from everywhere in the world, but we will make sure that they will be in their best shape, mental preparation, media training, and all these sort of things. So of course, this is very embryonic at this stage, but the way we're gonna move the focus is more than the team, is the city that they represent, so that we can ensure the cities to have a brand development throughout all the season and a brand exposure
Right. A
throughout
quick
all the
couple.
season.
Yeah.
So, it,
Yeah, a quick couple of
go
final
ahead.
questions now. So you if I don't know if you remember or not, about 3 to 4 years back, you made a statement that F1 will have to go electric. That has to be its future. You have seen F1's changes with its fuel for 3 4 years. You have seen Extreme E. You have seen the potential of an hydrogen series, Extreme H, that Alejandro organized. Do you still stand by your statement, or do you think there is more potential other than just going electric?
I don't think there is other choices than going electric. And it's not only me, of course. If I look at the statement of most of the CEO and the boards from automotive, but also in the yachting industry, now they are starting realizing with a bit of delay uh, uh, that the only way is to find the best and the most efficient solution, which is based on sustainability propulsion. Just to make sure, I'm saying that the marine industry had a delay in understanding, not because of lack of analysis, but because the technology to allow yachts and leisure boats to get to this level was not there yet. Now, again, with our cross fertilization, we have sped up this process
Yeah.
significantly for them. We have done the job for them, but I am sure and I know that now, also thanks to E1, there is much more
Right.
attention and focus on the
Okay,
next
another big
industrial
question
revolution.
from the fans and from everyone, from me as well. We saw Extreme Edge being announced just about a month back. Is there ever a possibility of a hydrogen powered powerboat racing series like E1 Edge or H1, let's say?
Well, there is definitely the possibility. I would say that in the next 10 years, the electrification will go to the next level because of the two technologies that are advancing very strongly. One is the solid state,
Yes.
and the other one is the hydrogen-based
Exactly. Yeah.
storage, energy storage. The other point that I would like to highlight is that I am evaluating many sources of energy from the beginning. I mean, to generate the electricity, and hydrogen is the first in the list. And we may have something pretty unique in this area. And by the way, one of the important part of our pitch is that we offer to the local authorities to keep our charging infrastructure in place where we go racing in order to let commercial application going even
Right.
when we will
On
leave
that
the location.
on that
So
point, yes, on
the
that
answer is
point, you
yes.
have mentioned once that you would like the charging system for even series be stealth to the fans. What does that mean? I don't know if you're sure about this, but even series says the charging system for its powerboat racing series will be kept stealth to the fans. So any views on that?
Uh, the charging stealth to the fan. Well, this expression is a bit new to me. I will need to know more about the context when
Okay.
it's been said that. When I say stealth to the fan,
So
what
just to
could it
just
be?
to get you, maybe if it would click you. So it is about. So there's this question that has always been asked that will there be charging in between races? So the even series belief is that, or the team says is that there will be no recharging between races. There will be one charge. The power board, the race board will not be charged during the race or in between races. It will be kept stealth to the fans. The racing, the charging.
Ah, okay. So yes, there will be one charge that is overnight, and then another charge which will going to be
Mhm.
within the session, and of course there will be less boats to be charged because only the ones going to semifinals and finals
Okay.
will get this extra boost, let's say, of energy. When we say stealth, is the way we are designing our charging station is such that it will have to be, of course,
Okay.
environmentally free, also by an aesthetic standpoint. So it's something that we will, again, it's another innovation point, even if it's coming from design, but we have to make sure that it can be used and it can be installed in every port and harbor without making any visual disruption. So in this respect, I definitely get
Right. So
the
one
meaning behind
final
the
question.
stealth.
You are co-founding this with Alejandro, who's, I would say he's been on a spree of organizing sustainable racing. He started with Formula E, moved on to Extreme E, Extreme Edge, even series, you know, and it's very interesting how most of his series, he himself says, have been developed either out for lunch or out for a walk, next to a river. Are you ever, scared or let's say apprehensive of the fact, attentive that maybe Alejandro is just gonna come to you one day and be like, Roddy, electric racing in the air this time. Have you ever been, been attentive that, oh, there's Alejandro is calling me for a lunch. What is it today? Has there ever been that sense? Is he how is it working with Alejandro in that sense?
Well, Alejandro, first of all, is a pioneer in this field, and he definitely owes a lot to the electrification process because he has been for sure an ambassador and an executor of very difficult projects that are today demonstrating that you can keep enjoying racing through the electric power. So, in the same time, he's a very open, honest, and
Uh-huh.
coherent person. So he's one of those men who has only one word and not many. It's not like he's flipping from a position to another overnight or even over years. So I would say that these are the distinctive points also of a business successful businessman as he is. So I have to say, in life, I'm prepared to everything, so everything can happen. But I will definitely be very surprised in case this happen as a statement and a position from him.
Now, you share your offices with Extreme E right now, if I'm not wrong, and you know,
Yep.
there's definitely this connection. So, wishing you all the best for even series. And before you leave, a message for all the viewers, for all the readers, for all the listeners. If you could provide us with an hashtag respect sports message, what do you have to say to people about sports, about taking part in sports, supporting people? So, what is your hashtag respect sports message then?
Well, the hashtag about sport is life. So it's a fantastic platform to know yourself, test your limit, and meet people and see how you interact with them, and having the chance to belong to the sport is not only healthy and make you live longer, but you are by design part of a very positive community that is taking the values to a different level.
Right. Thank you so much, Rory. It was so inspiring to talk to you. You took us on a journey of your memories. You took us on a journey of your insights. Your insights were so interesting. Be it the Rubens Barrichello pole position, be it working with Adrian Newey, be it even series, or be it pineapple on pizza or death. The choice between life and death. There, it was very, very, very interesting, very inspiring to talk to you. I hope to be able to talk to you once again. The viewers hope that we are able to get you once again. There's just so much to learn from you. You have so much experience. Thank you for sharing your experience, your insights, your analysis, and thank you viewers for joining in, listening, and being a part of this conversation with Rodi Basso. Thank you so much, and keep playing, keep reading, keep listening, and always keep playing. Never stop. Thank you. Danke.